All right, welcome back. You know, it was only a matter of time, right? They're now starting to actually say the quiet part out loud. What does that mean? Well, remember during Trump's last term, Kelly Osbourne, Ozzy Osbourne's daughter, stated on The View, that show that everybody loves, that if you kick every Latino out of this country, she said, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump? Now, even the women on The View groaned in disapproval when Osbourne uttered those words. Now, you fast forward to 2025 and take a peek into what L.A. Mayor Karen Bass had to say. Now, she said that if the ICE raids persist, there will be nobody left to nanny L.A.'s children or mow the lawns. So nothing has changed except for the fact that there were no groans of disapproval this time around. She continued and said, you think about the mothers who have nannies and housekeepers, they will feel it when there's nobody to do the child care and there's nobody there to take the kids to school. You know, you will feel it when your gardener goes away and you don't know where he or she is. So Angelenos will feel the absence of immigrant labor. Wow. So there you have it. Kelly Osbourne 2.0, but this time with nods of agreement, not disapproval. So 8 years later, is this where we're at? Now, I wanted to get the pin into my next guest, so please welcome to the show, Ms. Rebecca Walser, Walser Wealth Management, coming to us from Tampa, Florida. Thanks, Rebecca, for taking the time. I know you're a busy person. In 8 short years, even The View groaned in disapproval. And now when LA's Karen Bass says it, everybody's applauding and agrees with her. What's going on?
You know, Scott, this really is a federalism issue, which is the 10th Amendment. And it sounds like it's, federalism basically is the supremacy clause of the Constitution that basically states that, and the 10th Amendment, that basically states anything that is not explicitly reserved to the federal government as a authority and ring and realm of authority of the federal government is reliant, basically is relegated to the states. But our immigration policy, our national sovereignty through our borders is absolutely, without a doubt, within the purview of the federal government. We cannot have 50 different states and U.S. territories having their own immigration policy. So immigration policy is federally sovereign. It means that anything that the federal law states on immigration policy is the supreme, we call it the supremacy clause, the supreme law of the land above any state and local law. And what has happened in the last 8 years are these city and state sanctuary city and sanctuary state policies that basically say we are going to disregard federal immigration law. We are not going to cooperate with ICE. We are not going to cooperate with the federal authorities to implement federal immigration law. We're not going to allow the ICE officers to come in, and we're going to actually protest and block. And this is what you're seeing here in LA. And it is just an absolute transparent confirmation that we are going to do what we want to do, and we don't care what you say. And this is setting this up for really a head-to-head state versus federal rights on, at the U.S. Supreme Court. And I really am a big 10th Amendment federalism fan. I believe that most things should be carried out at the state level. But clearly, federal immigration policy is a federal issue that has to be consistent from coast to coast, west to east, east to west, top to bottom, Canada and Mexico included. And we can't have states and cities saying, we're going to disregard, we're not going to cooperate, and that's it.
Okay, so I'm not a lawyer. Why can't we just get rid of the sanctuary status? Why does this even still hang around?
I mean, that is exactly what has to go to the Supreme Court and has to be decided. Like, does a state? So there was a gun case in Texas, basically, and the federal government had passed a law that said that the state authorities had to enforce their gun policy of no guns within a certain vicinity of a school, within a certain mileage of the school. And the Supreme Court came back and ruled in that case that you cannot force state actors to implement federal policy. So that's a very clear case that the federal government cannot force state and local governments to enforce federal law. We know that. Okay, that's fine. But this is not that, Scott. This is not ICE saying, hey, go round up all of these illegals that are working at this shop or that shop or wherever. This is the state government saying, we're going to ignore federal law, and we're going to actually be a safe haven against, turning you in if you are here illegally. So this is completely different. And this is why this has to go before the Supreme Court, because until we get the Supreme Court to say you can't have a sanctuary city or a sanctuary state, you're going to keep seeing this over and over and over.
Well, I would say that I would have to attack it from a different point of view. Then, I would not bail them out. I wouldn't give them any money, and I would let them continue to be a sanctuary because I think it would be they're going to attract more and more people. The more and more this ICE immigration raids carry on, more and more people are going to go to L.A., Chicago, and New York, and it's going to be such a burden on them. At some point in time, they're going to fold under their own weight, don't you think?
No, that's exactly what the federal government has the authority and power to do. They need to pull the purse strings. They need to say, okay, if you're going to be a sanctuary city or a sanctuary state and you're not going to cooperate with federal authorities, ICE, and immigration policy, then we are going to pull your funding on X, Y, Z, A, B, C, and D. I mean, that is the only way right now without a direct case on point at the Supreme Court level that this is going to have to be decided. The federal government's going to have to pull their authority and the funding side of things. And obviously we know that the cities and states are very much beholden to federal government funding. And so I think that that will have some impact. But, you know, you can see California, you can see Newsom, you can see LA, not really, you can threaten that all you want. You can pull funds like Trump has done with the universities for various different policy administration regions. But, Scott, it's not effective. Like, we can't have state and local government going against federal law. This is federal law. It is the supreme law of the land because it is a federal issue that has to be enforced uniformly across the country, and it's not, and this is exactly the problem.
And you know what? The left does a very good job of trying to make it an emotive issue, trying to pull at your heartstrings, right? And they say that this person's been here for 30 years. They've been working this job. They've been paying their taxes. They've got 20-year-old children now. And now you're going to rip them out and send them home? Well, yeah, because they came here illegally. Well, look what you're doing to the family. And my argument would be, no, they're doing it to their family. We're not doing anything. We're just enforcing our laws. But they play that emotional card all the time to try to get people to change their views.
You know, it's really easy to vote when it doesn't come to your personal tax. Like, if I don't have to pay for this vote, if someone else off in some other place has to pay for it, I can vote however I want. I can vote because I have a big heart. And the second that you have to personally start sharing your house or your car or your lawn with, illegal immigrants that are coming into our country, I think people's perception changes. So I'm all in favor of, if you vote a certain way, you start to get a direct tax bill that is in line with that vote, and that goes to you. And then I think we'll see our country turn really conservative really fast because people are going to be like, oh, no, you mean I have to pay for this directly? It's directly on an itemized amount of my bill. You want illegal immigration so that you can have your health care, your child care, your nannies, as this mayor said, whatever you want. People are going to change their tune, Scott. When it starts to affect them directly financially, that's when they'll start to realize, oh, money does not grow on trees and it's not free. And every time the government prints it, it actually makes my money worth less. So it's inflationary, and we can't have that.
I love it. It's almost like, you call 911 as Rebecca Walser, and I pick up the phone. What's your name, ma'am? Oh, Rebecca Walser. Hang on a minute. Did you vote for defund the? Oh, you did vote to defund the police. We'll get to you tomorrow. We'll get you to tomorrow. All right. So that's what I want.
Or just, if I call 911, I know that's a bill for $1,000. Maybe I'm not calling 911 for a finger prick or something. So the same thing. Like if you want this, then you pay for it. Don't think that there's some boogeyman in a different state that's paying for it. No. You are going to pay for it, period.
All right. I love it. Always great to have you on. You make Mondays fantastic. Rebecca Walser, Walser Wealth Management down in Tampa, Florida. Thank you.